A full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Hey, is that a faucet running?
Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest.
It is?
Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact...
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
How do trees clean the air?
They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep, but the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that we can give our daughters everything they need to grow and learn. But not every child can focus on classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome in to the Rib Crib Radio Room. I'm your host today, AG Adam Goff, along with Miles Lashley on the ones and twos. You're listening to ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. Make sure you check us out in the Mariana area on 102.1, as well as the Port St. Joe area on 101.9. So we're live here in the Rib Crib Radio Room, and it looks like all the meat has been picked off of the bones in here.
Oh, yeah. Nothing in here. Kind of
getting
odd.
ready for the big move over to Thomas Drive. Everybody's looking forward to a fancy new studio, and I'm excited about it. I know there's quite a lot going on with the station itself, so, I'm not here every day, obviously, but it's definitely a different vibe in here. I feel like I'm in somebody's garage right now. It's definitely interesting.
Old school vibe.
Right. All right, so let's get into last night, Miles. So we've got Chargers-Chiefs. Chiefs come away victorious. A lot of ups and downs in that game. Give me your biggest takeaway.
Well, first of all, I'm ready to watch this matchup for the next 10, 12 years in a row.
Yeah.
These quarterbacks are going to be, they're two generational talents. But my biggest takeaway from last night is that the Chargers had plenty of chances to win this game. They just couldn't get it done. And we didn't see the old Brandon Staley that we always saw, the guy who likes to go for it on every single fourth.
A little more conservative last night.
I would say a lot more from what we saw last year. But he just didn't go for it on those fourth downs. On some of them, I was like, you got to go for it here. You have the momentum. You've put together a drive. You got to go for it. He didn't do it. I don't know what that is. I know the first half they had the lead, but second half, some of those you got to go for them.
Especially with Patrick Mahomes on the other side, right? We've seen in his short career and short storied career what that man is capable of if you give him just a few seconds. I mean, look at the Bills playoff game last year. So the Chiefs ended up beating the Chargers 27-24. Mahomes was 24 of 35 for 235 and 2 touchdowns. Herbert got rocked late in that game in the fourth quarter. It was definitely interesting to see him kind of pull up lame on a short run where he could have gotten the first down, and then on 4th and 1 he throws a dime.
Yeah, well, it's wild too.
To DeAndre Carter.
Yeah, you saw last night. He's a competitor. He wants to play every chance he gets. The injury looked pretty bad. One of those passes on that drive, he threw it and he looked like he couldn't move his left arm at all. Right. Then he takes a fall on his own, kind of a sack, and then 4th and 5, shoots a laser downfield.
Yeah, you couldn't have placed that ball any better.
Yeah. And
it was remarkable.
There's very few quarterbacks in the league that can do that, especially with him being in that condition.
Yeah. One of the biggest takeaways for me was the fact that Mahomes was putting the ball in spots to give the Chargers an opportunity. There were 3 or 4 opportunities, like good opportunities for the Chargers to pick him off, and they just couldn't capitalize. They couldn't take advantage.
Yeah, and there was always a flag or something happened. I will say the only one I thought that was questionable was the holding. They said defensive holding.
Yeah.
Looks like the Chiefs receiver ran downfield, took a sharp right. The defensive back was on the inside of him, so they got called up. The Chiefs receiver in the video throws the defensive back down. They called that holding on the defense. That one didn't make sense to me, but the rest of them, they were fair.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes didn't look too hot in the first half, but there's a whole game, and that team's always really good.
Yeah.
You can't ever count them out.
And then when you see the Chargers march all the way down the field, right, they get down to, 1st and goal, and pick 6, 98 yards the other way. My feeling on the subject, and I texted this last night in our group, was you've got Austin Eckler lined up either right next to you or right beside you, right? Your wideouts and your tight ends, including Everett, who was gassed on that last play, were they were beat. Like, they were absolutely whipped. Austin Eckler's fresh. Hand the ball off. Get your guys a chance to take a, quote-unquote play off, and then try to score from there. But, Herbert makes a quick decision, looks at Everett, who had the hot hand, but as you could visibly tell, like, Everett was done on that series. He was trying to get out.
Yeah. And I blame that on the coach for putting him in that situation. Now, he probably should have given a little more effort. No matter how tired you are, you always got to give as much as you can, I would say. But he just couldn't do it. They had just driven down the whole field. Big play. Lining up super fast. I'm running the ball there. I put that on the coach. I'm interested to see if you think that's Herbert, Everett's fault, or the coach's fault.
Yeah, I think it's on the coach. You've got to, if you're not going to call timeout there because you're trying to save them once you score, I get it. So if you're not going to call timeout there, but you're still running hurry up, run the dang football. What is the matter with you? Especially when you've got a guy like Austin Eckler there that is fully capable of doing some work. And then an underrated statistic to know here, Miles.
Yes, on this pick 6.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's pick 6 was a rare one. It's the only pick 6 this century that came in the red zone in the fourth quarter of a tied game.
I would have thought that had happened 10, 20 of times before.
Right. So it's very, very odd. But, not taking anything away from Justin Herbert. We saw his competitiveness. We saw his ability. I think that team is still a very, very good team. And, they were able to get the ball down the field without their number 1 wide receiver in Keenan Allen.
Yes,
So,
and that shows you, too, that they're different players, him and Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes doesn't have Tyreek Hill. Herbert doesn't have Keenan Allen, their key guy. He can get it done with other guys.
I think that offense is better without Tyreek Hill. I do, because they have the ability to spread the ball out. Now, MVS is going to be MVS. He's going to have his drops. He's going to have his big moments. But, having somebody like a Juju going over the middle. So, you don't have a Patrick Mahomes that's keying in on, on two players anymore. You know, Mecole Hardman had some big catches last night. So I think that offense is a lot better than it was last year. And I think you're seeing a healthier CEH in there as well.
Yeah, and another thing I saw too last night was pushing Patrick Mahomes out of the pocket. I can't tell if you want to push him out of the pocket or you don't. If you let him sit in the pocket, he has more time to figure out what the defense is doing.
Pick your poison, right?
If you push him out of the pocket, the defense is going to get all moved around, and he's going to find a little sliver somewhere to throw it, and it's going to be a big play. Yeah. He's unstoppable.
Why can't we have Thursday night games like this all year long? Why does it always have to end up being like Jags, Texans?
Yeah, and then we'll get it. And then same with Monday night. Later in the season, we'll get a few just like bloopers on Monday night that no one really wants to watch, but you're going to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're on the radio at 104.3 FM in Panama City, 102.1 FM in Marietta, and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our TV partner, Blab TV. Make sure you check them out on your Fire Stick or your Roku device. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, download the app, and register at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. So let's get into some of the headlines for today. Obviously, Seahawks had a big win last weekend this week, I guess, on Monday. But they lost Jamal Adams for the rest of the year.
I got a question for you, too. Jamal Adams, he's that key piece in their locker room. They want him there as much as he can be there. It's sad he's not going to be there for that defense. I'm interested to see what they're going to look like. They're not going to have that key piece. But do you think the Seahawks, when we look back in 8, 9, 10 games, do you think we're going to look back and we're not going to look at that week 1 win? We're going to be like, that's the exact team we thought they were going to be, losing a good bit of games?
They've got good coaching. I think they have a good running game. They've got a couple key pieces between Lockett and Metcalf. That team is going to go how Geno Smith goes. If Geno Smith is able to produce like he was, not only through the air but on the ground, I think he had 90 yards or 60 to 90 yards on the ground, and he was able to spread the ball around. I mean, those tight ends between Disley and the other two guys, like they were able to move the ball against what I thought was a pretty good defense in Denver. Now, granted, it's week 1, so there's still a lot of football to be played, but I think that team is going to go how Geno Smith goes, and if he continues to play at that level, they could be a surprise team come midseason. Absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing that shocked me in that game was that they didn't put up any points in the second half.
Right, and we're still able to win. Right.
Yep.
So staying in the NFL, Najee Harris, he's in. His questionable tag has been taken off officially today. That's big for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going in against a Patriots team that their defense did really well against the run for Miami. I don't think Miami necessarily focused too much on the run with those weapons on the outside, but when Miami did try to run the ball, they weren't very successful. So it's big for Pittsburgh to get Najee Harris back.
Yeah, and they're going to need him throughout the season with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett as their quarterbacks. I'm guessing throughout the year, Kenny Pickett's eventually going to play. But Mitch Trubisky, he's not the most reliable guy. Now, he's a good, average quarterback, but you can't rely on him to throw the ball 45 times every game. And Najee's going to be their workhorse. They're going to use him a lot in the games, passing, everything. So they need him to stay healthy this year.
Yeah, and we'll get into it later, but I think a couple key pieces being out in this game, something we can highlight right now with Chris Godwin not going against the Saints, and then now Alvin Kamara is questionable in that same game against the Bucs. So that game should be one of those I'm going to watch just to see who is playing and see what that looks like, because for me right now, just throwing it out there, it feels like a Taysom Hill game to me if Kamara's not there.
Put Taysom Hill at running back?
Yeah,
or just let him run Wildcat?
Why not?
That'd be awesome to watch. But, yeah, I mean, you saw how they used him last week when the first half Jameis wasn't producing. You know what? Let's put Taysom Hill in. I think he got 2 touchdowns, in the first half last week. If he's scoring touchdowns and it's working, why not do it? Now, if they get to this weekend and they try Taysom Hill, it doesn't work, get away from it for a little bit, go back.
Yeah, and so I think it's going to be an interesting game. Like I said, we'll touch on it a little bit later. DeAndre Swift is now questionable for the Lions, so Jamal Williams might be getting some run against Washington, which, that Lions team is, I think it's 2 pieces away defensively from being a really, really solid football team.
I can't remember the exact number of games, but this is the first weekend that they are favored in a long time.
Yes, it was from 2019, I think it was, which is wild to think about. I mean, that's, 8 home games a year for the last 3 years, and you weren't favored in any of them? Wow. All right, so the NCAA has instructed college football programs to remove the names of any student athletes who entered the transfer portal since the new portal windows went into effect on August 31st. The NCAA confirmed to ESPN on Wednesday.
I'm interested for what this means for the guys that just left their schools, and do they get to go back to that school they were at, or have that school already filled that spot, or they said, hey, we're just going to leave it open for next year and get somebody else? I'm interested for that, or do they have to sit out a whole year and just train? Go back to school somewhere, enroll, get your college credits, and train.
Well, and I understand that thought process, but the NCAA, by and large, the role of that organization is to protect and support the student athlete. So if they're going to be that punitive toward one of their own student athletes, I think it goes against what they should be there for. Now, we all have our gripes with the NCAA. We all have these instances where we've looked at that group and said, what are you doing? Why is this taking so long? Why are you punishing this kid and this kid gets away with whatever? But I think that they're starting to learn their lesson that if they don't do what's right in the public's eye, then it's not a good thing for them. And I think they're starting to learn that.
Yeah, and they want to stay in. They want to stay as pretty much the governing power of all these conferences as long as they can. They're getting a big check every year.
Oh, sure.
If they do a lot of stuff that a lot of schools don't like, the schools are going to all come together and say, hey, we need a new person, a new group of people in charge. But the transfer portal now is the day after the national championship, you have 30 days to transfer. After that 30 days, you're locked in at the school you're at until the end of spring camp. At the end of spring camp, sometime in May, you get 30 days after that, and then you're locked into that team till the national championship after that football season.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. And I want the kids to be able to go where they want to be, where they can get the most out of their abilities and most for their academic situation. I mean, coaches are able to do it, so I'm all for it. But look, we need to have some rules and regulations on here. But make sure you guys stay locked into ESPN 104.3 after the show. We're going to do a quick little detour to Paul Feinbaum at 6 o'clock after Miles and I are done here. But then we're going to take you live to Tommy Oliver Stadium. Leon coming in from Tallahassee. They're being hosted by Mosley, the Mosley Dolphins, tonight at 7 p.m. Our own David Hayes and Kyle Wright will be on the air at 6:30, bringing you pregame coverage. And then at 7 o'clock kickoff, they're ready to rock. So keep it tuned in here to ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3. We're going to take a short break here, and we'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Giants have a coach. The thing I liked the most is that moment on the sideline with Daniel Jones. Jones throws a terrible interception in the end zone, and Daboll is over there coaching him. That was not yelling. That wasn't Bill O'Brien and Brady yelling at each other. That was a coach correcting. That was a coach doing his job. He's coaching. If I'm a Giant fan today, I am delirious.
Greeny, weekdays 2 to 4, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, around 90 degrees this afternoon. Northeast wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 85. There might be a stray shower or thunderstorm tonight, partly to mostly clear in the low 70s. Better chance of showers and thunderstorms Friday through the weekend, highs in the 80s. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Ben and Deb Collins, owners of Bay Guns and Gear, have been in business since 2010, offering new firearms and accessories with a huge selection available for your hunting needs and personal defense. Turn to Bay Guns and Gear. They have the weapon for you. Discount pricing. And if you can't find what you're looking for, they'll special order it for you. Bay Guns and Gear, across from Grease Pro at 3115 Highway 77. Visit their website, baygunsandgear.com.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the two 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's, Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
Number of rings since 1987. Dallas Cowboys 0. J-Lo 5. Just saying. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3. I'm AG, your host today, along with Miles Lashley on the ones and twos. Make sure you stay tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. Not only tonight for Leon at Mosley with Dave and Kyle, but also stay tuned to the most touchdowns on the Gulf Coast. We're going to be bringing you some live NFL action. We're your home for the most live sports on the Panhandle. Premier NFL games every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. It's sponsored by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards. This Sunday, we'll have the Patriots at the Steelers at noon kickoff. And then we have the Texans at Broncos at 3:25. And then Sunday night, Bears and Packers. Monday night, there's a couple different games. We're going to get you to the Titans game first. And then once that one's concluded, we'll get you over to the Vikings and Eagles. So staying right along in the NFL, because, Miles, the NFL is king. We all know
NFL
this.
is always king.
Right? So we talked a little bit about this with some injuries, but you got Tampa Bay at New Orleans on Sunday.
I'm a big Saints guy, Jameis guy. The Saints have had Tom Brady's number since he's been at the Bucs.
It hasn't been close.
Yeah, and Tom Brady just can't seem to get over it. That's where he broke the iPad at that game last year on TV. He just can't seem to get past him. The spread on this game is 2.5. The Bucs are favorites. Saints are underdogs at home. I love that for the Saints. That place is so loud. But I'm ready to see if Tom Brady can finally get a win over them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because Tampa's going to be coming in there undermanned. I mean, Fournette's has not been practicing all week. Chris Godwin has been ruled out. Help me out here. Russell Gage. Russell Gage has been limited in practice as well. He may not play. So you may be looking at Mike Evans and Scotty Miller out there. And Mike Evans is going to be covered up by Lattimore because that's one of the best receiver-cornerback matchups in the NFL, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch it. I got Mike Evans on my fantasy team. I want him to do some big stuff this week. And, hey, if he's the best receiver out there and there's no one close next to him on the Bucs, he's going to be getting a lot of receptions or targets at least at the minimum.
Yeah. So it should be interesting to see how Tom Brady can overcome that adversity. Like I said in the previous segment, I think you're going to see a lot of Taysom Hill in this game, especially if Kamara isn't 100%, whether he plays or not.
Yeah.
New England at Pittsburgh. You got two teams here that didn't really look good offensively in week one. Defensively, they both had flashes where they looked pretty good. Pittsburgh gets Najee Harris back, thankfully for them. New England, Mac Jones. I think this is a 4 or 5 game stretch for Mac Jones where, he's going to have to start showing that he's taking that next step.
Yeah, he's got to pick it up. The Patriots are 2.5-point favorites in this game on the road, but Mac Jones has to pick it up. He hasn't shown it last game that he's the guy yet. I think you got to give a quarterback in any NFL franchise at least 2 years minimum to see if they're the guy. Mac Jones hasn't shown that he's the guy yet. This is the year for him. If not, I give him one more year. But he's got to pick it up. He's got to make smarter decisions. Don't turn the ball over. Just the smart stuff.
Yeah, and the running game, they have to be able to run the ball against Pittsburgh. Otherwise, they're not going to have a chance because they got to run that play action. Those receivers are not fast enough to get separation on their own. They're going to need time. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair in that game.
Yeah, well, and T.J. Watt being out is going to should help them in the run game.
Sure.
And pass game. Should help them a lot. Scheme some more stuff up and get the ball further downfield, especially running.
Yeah, I think one of the sneaky good games, Miami at Baltimore. Like Lamar Jackson possibly gets J.K. Dobbins back. We don't know to what extent he's going to be back, but he's been practicing full participant all week. Miami looked good week 1. You know, Tua slinging the ball around. Sure, there were some questionable decisions, but, you know, they went out and got Tyreek Hill. They've got Jalen Waddle, you know, Cedric Wilson out there. You know, what can those weapons do against a healthy secondary for
And
Baltimore?
a really good secondary, too.
A very good secondary. So I think that game, and then, you know, Lamar takes his criticism, and I think a lot of it's unfair. And I don't say that just because I'm wearing his Louisville jersey, but, you know, Allen goes out and runs the ball around all over the field. You know, Herbert makes plays, Mahomes makes plays. You know, all these other guys go out and do the same thing that Lamar's doing, and then Lamar does it, and then he gets called into question. So I think you're going to see – I think what you saw last week with Lamar was him trying to do a little more out of the pocket and not necessarily run as much because he wants to be a pocket quarterback. He doesn't want to be I'm going to run first guy, and then, oh, by the way, I can throw it too.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to be that guy that his career's cut short because all those hits he's taken running.
Mm-hmm.
No quarterback wants to do that. And
except Josh Allen, apparently.
Yeah, and I was looking at the list of a little preview for later, but what quarterback has the most touchdowns, rushing, and all that kind of stuff? And Lamar's pretty low on the list. He only has 21. Josh Allen has 34. Mm-hmm. He runs a lot more. This year for Lamar, it's, hey, protect the ball, score, win, and get me paid.
Stay healthy. Last year they dealt with a lot of injuries, and that can't be understated. Next game, Bengals at Cowboys. This is probably the best medicine for the Cincinnati Bengals, having this Cowboys team that already didn't look very good, and then they lose Dak Prescott for 4 to 8 weeks, depending upon whose doctor you're talking to. But this should be the game that the Bengals need. If they're going to make some noise in the AFC North this season, this is the game that they get right with. So I feel like even though it's on the road, this is the game that the Bengals should win by multiple touchdowns.
Yeah, there's no win in the NFL that's an easy win. But going into this game, Cowboys don't have Dak. Their defense and offense the past 2-3 years hasn't been what it should be. Joe Burrow's been that guy the last year. Didn't see it week 1, but he's not going to throw 4 interceptions and fumble the ball once.
No, and that was my takeaway, you know, from the Bengals-Steelers game was, you know, if that's our worst game of the year and we still have opportunities to win it, I'm okay with it.
Exactly. That's not going to happen again.
Right.
Hopefully not.
Right.
But, yeah, I see the Bengals running away with this, and it's going to be fun to see what Joe Burrow can do. Yeah. I'm ready for him to have a big season. He's ready for it. He's just waiting on the time, and I think this is the right time to kickstart it.
Cardinals at Raiders. When do we finally have enough of Kyler Murray and all his shenanigans?
You want me to give you some stats I told you earlier?
Fire away.
So, Kyler Murray is 0-23 and 1 tie when there's double XP weekend in the game Call of Duty. And for all the listeners, what that means is when you're playing this video game, you get double points on those weekends when it's double XP. He's 0-23 in those weekends, right? Well, this weekend, there's a new Call of Duty coming out in about a month. It's called the beta. Everybody can get on the game. It's only for 24 hours this weekend where you can test the new game they're coming out with. And Kyler Murray is definitely going to be on that game this weekend. He's got 24 hours this weekend. I don't know exactly what the hours are, but I know it's sometime around Saturday. It might run into Sunday. So you know he's going to be on the video game. I would take the Raiders here. Kyler Murray hasn't proven to me yet that he's the guy. I'm interested to see what they look like and what that organization turns into if it goes south. But I think the Raiders have a really good team. DeAndre Hopkins, I think he has to be on the field for Kyler Murray to win games.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he's not going to be there for another 5 weeks. I think everybody is starting to have Kyler Murray fatigue because the issue is that the kid is super talented. He's super talented with his feet. He's got a great arm, and I think he has the mental acuity to play the position. It's the focus. It's the desire, and that to me has come into question over the last year. And they came out with that whole statute, if you will, in his contract of it's the stipulation where you had to have so many hours.
Yeah, but I have a question on that.
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
They have a below average year this year than they're supposed to have, we're all going to look back at the end of the year and say, well, they probably should have at least kept that 4 hours of study each week in his contract. What does that say about Kyler Murray and the general manager at the end of the year? To me, it says that.
To me, it says Cliff Kingsbury's probably getting fired.
The management was right. They made the right call. Twitter, the media, internet kills the team for putting this in his contract, and then everybody looks back and says, "Well, they were right the whole time." And I don't want that to happen. I'm scared for that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it could be the case. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is probably going to be the scapegoat in that as well, because the first thing Kyler Murray ever does is when he makes a mistake is he points a finger at somebody else and says, nope, that was your fault. That's my biggest worry about that young man. So next game I want to talk about, I want to get into it. It's Monday night, Vikings at Eagles. To me, this game has all the makings of a just absolute knockdown, drag-out, shootout. I mean, I'm talking, 75 to 80 points in this game.
Yeah, two great defenses, I would say. Vikings solid.
Eagles got shellacked a little bit last week with
They're
the
still an
Lions.
above-average defense.
Yeah.
That was week one. Knocked the rust off. Come on, give me a break.
I hear you.
But Vikings, pretty solid defense too. But I'm ready to watch these offenses against each other. Both these teams love the end zone so much. There's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see Kirk Cousins on a Monday night. New offense, new offensive coach. Can he get that monkey off his back to where, these primetime games that, when the focus is, it's not entirely on him because there is another game going that night with our own David Hayes' Tennessee Titans. But it's going to be interesting to see Cousins, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be fun to see that new offense for Philadelphia with all those weapons that Jalen Hurts has as well.
Note: Kirk Cousins is 2-9 in his Monday Night Football starts. But
you like that?
I don't like it, but this year's different.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. You can catch that game right here on ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. We're going to take a little time out here, and when we get back, we'll cover a little bit, maybe some Super Bowl sleepers and some teams that maybe we are not going to be surprised come Week 8, Week 9.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. When Aaron Rodgers loses Devontae Adams, you have to now develop patience. So Aaron does ayahuasca. Maybe that helps. This was the fastest game those young receivers had ever played in. This was the Vikings' arrival on the road. Of course the game was fast. Of course they had a drop of their kids.
The Herd, weekdays 11 to 2 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another college football season. And welcome back to another season of Fansville by Dr. Pepper. That little slice of heaven. Every man, woman, and student section drinks Dr. Pepper like their life depends on it. It does. Where the air is filled with the scent of charcoal grills, and the streets are marked with yard lines. Practical. Where the current trending baby names are Blitz, Spike, and 2-point conversion. Adorable. And recruitment starts before you're born. It's a linebacker. Where NFT stands for Not Fun Tailgate, and DIY stands for Dr. Pepper is Yummy. It is. It's the place off-season fever dreams are made of, where the right to life, liberty, and barbecue is written in the town's constitution. Saucy. And the current forecast is sunny, with a 90% chance of the skies opening up and raining down delicious droplets of Dr. Pepper. Grab a bucket. Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. Grab some today.
Get ready for the PCB Fishing Rodeo September 23rd through October 9th at Captain Anderson Marina. Join us for the kickoff party Saturday, September 24th with live music from 4 till 7 p.m. To be a part of this exciting event, you can register at Captain Anderson Marina or online at PCBFishingRodeo.com. The PCB Fishing Rodeo, September 23rd through October 9th.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. From Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge. We're live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And you are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. We are your home for the Auburn Tigers again. Auburn's next game is on ESPN Northwest Florida. They're hosting Penn State at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Hear every game in ultra high fidelity right here. That game kicks off at 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you tune in for the Auburn Tigers against the favored Penn State Nittany Lions.
Odd hearing that. Somebody playing in Jordan-Hare.
Right. It's weird. But, Miles, let's get back to the NFL, and then we'll move on to some college football here in the second hour. You brought up a topic, Super Bowl sleepers. It's only week one, but...
Yeah, you got your people. We'll know more if these teams are frauds or not in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
For me, though, my number one team that stands out is the Vikings. They got all the pieces there. New head coach, offensive guy, somebody that has a good relationship with Kirk Cousins, from what we know now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they have all the pieces there. I mean, they can make a run. The Packers are down. Easier NFC North than usual. They have a good chance to win the division. They already beat the Packers once. Do it again. You're in the driver's seat, and it's going to be pretty smooth sailing from there. Now the playoffs are the problem for Kirk. But they just
a lot of primetime games there.
Yeah, they're all primetime. But look, let's get Kirk there with a new head coach and see what he does.
Yeah, I said it on the air. The Vikings are my NFC representative in the Super Bowl. Justin Jefferson is a freak, but that team's success is going to boil down to, is Dalvin Cook healthy?
Mm-hmm.
If he can stay the course and he can stay healthy throughout the season, I think that team is going to light the world up in the NFC. So I'm with you on that one. Not necessarily a sleeper for me, but for some people, yeah. I mean, because you're seeing a lot of Niners out there, and you're seeing a lot of the Bucks, and
I only call them a sleeper because they haven't been there.
Right. No, I got you. I'm with you. Who you got? Who else you got?
So the other one I got is the Ravens. This is going to be hard for the Ravens. It's going to rely all on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson, healthy, and a healthy running back room.
Mm-hmm.
If that's there, they can get there. They have the defense. Their defense is always great. Them getting to the Super Bowl is going to solely rely, I think, on their offense.
Mm-hmm.
Is Lamar going to be healthy at the end of the year? I don't know. If he is, they have a really good shot. They got to play the Bengals. We'll see how that goes. But, hey, Lamar's the guy. I think he can get it done. And if he can get there this year, they got to get him some weapons and pay him.
Yeah, pay the man. Right, absolutely. No, I like that pick. And, everybody call in or shoot us a text, 850-215-6290. We'd like to hear your all's Super Bowl sleepers as well. For me, my second team on this one, I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts, G-Man's team. I know they had the tie against the Texans, but, with Jonathan Taylor there, Michael Pittman showed out last week. He looked really great. Can they find that second receiver and, to take some of that pressure off of Matt Ryan and Michael Pittman? And the defense is solid. It's middle of the pack defense, but we've seen that that's good enough in this league to get you there. So it's just whether or not they can take that next step offensively, and that's the reason they brought in Matt Ryan, because he's been to a Super Bowl before. We're not going to talk about how that Super Bowl ended and finished, but he's been there.
Yeah, and they still have in my mind, a top 5 offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They got it in place a little too late for Andrew Luck, but Hey, it's right now, the past few years, the Colts have been a plug and play with quarterbacks. You plug them in, you get the right guy, they're going to go to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
They got to get over the hump. They got to win those games that they should win, not lose any of those. Like last year, you saw Carson Wentz going to the Jaguars, lose that game. They lost a playoff spot. But I think Matt Ryan's the guy for the job. Now, I don't know what to make of their tie from the Texans. Did the Texans get a little bit better, or was there a bunch of rust on the Colts from not all of them playing in the preseason?
I guess we're going to find out throughout the year. Who else you got?
So my last Super Bowl sleeper is the Broncos. Same with them on the preseason stuff. None of them played in preseason. Very emotional game for us, Week 1 in Seattle. I take that game with a grain of salt. I don't think that means anything long-term for their season. They got a great defense, great offensive weapons. It's going to rely on their new head coach. Is he gonna screw up the game management more in the season? I don't think so. I think they're just going to get better and better as the season goes on. And I see them making it to the Super Bowl as one of my sleepers.
The only thing that game does is that's one of those games that you have to win, especially when you're playing in the AFC West, right? Because they're going to have 6 games in total against the Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders. That's a gauntlet for them to have to go through. So even if they go, 3-3 in those games, well, now you add the Seattle game, they're 3-4. You know what I mean? So like that's the caveat to that.
Yeah,
game.
it's one of those games that you have to win, or you're expected to win.
Right.
And those in the NFL, the games you're expected to win, you have to win, or it's going to come back to bite you at the end of the season.
Yeah. For me, my last sleeper for the Super Bowl is your New Orleans Saints. I like what they do defensively. I think Lattimore, being there on the back end, can go up against any team's number one. He's going to struggle against Jefferson and Chase and Cup, but at the same time, who doesn't, right? So, but it's Jameis Winston, right? Is he going to, quote unquote, ball out again this year?
He's going to eat a lot of W's this year.
Like his last year in Tampa, like he likes to say. But the guy has shown he's capable of leading an offense. It's just, can he make the right decision at the right time? So it's going to be interesting to see what Dennis Allen is able to do with him. If he's able to rein him in and control him a little bit more. And, and then that division is winnable. We're seeing a Tampa Bay team that offensively against a Cowboys team did not look very good week 1. Now they're dealing with a whole, laundry list of injuries. So now you've got the Panthers, which just lost to the Browns, and Jacoby Brissett. And you've got the Falcons, which, they just beat. So they've shown that they can beat the Falcons. And the Falcons were gritty. I give them credit.
A lot better than I thought coming out of the game.
Absolutely. So credit Marcus Mariota for, the performance that he had on Sunday. But I do like the Saints coming out of that division. And if they get hot at the right time, yeah, they could really, really do some damage in the playoffs.
Can we stay on the Saints and go to my underrated teams, but have a chance to make a run in the playoffs?
Yeah,
because I have the Saints in that category for me personally. I would say they're a little underrated. They have everything there to be a playoff team and make a run. The question mark for me in that offense is Jameis Winston. Is he in the right headspace? Is he going to have a lot of turnovers this year? If he doesn't do that stuff, they're a playoff team all day. You saw in the first half, he had 56 yards week 1, 200 in the fourth quarter alone. First 3 quarters, actually, he had 56 yards passing. Fourth quarter, 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Now that's a winner. If he can do that 1 through 4 quarters every single game, they're going to win a lot of games, but that relies on him. He's calling the shots in that offense. Like you said, he's their guy. But he's got to step up, take a big step forward this year, and carry that team.
Yeah, it's like I said, they're a Super Bowl sleeper for me, and it all hinges on Jameis. Underrated team I could see making the playoffs. I liked what I saw out of the Giants against the Titans. Their ability to run the ball, which was not there last year. Saquon Barkley looked great. The offensive line was opening up holes for him, which they could not do last year. So it looks like they've addressed some of the issues that, Brian Daboll has shown he's got a great offensive mind. They play in the NFC East where, right now it's Philadelphia and this shocking Washington Commanders offense that's seemingly coming out of nowhere.
It's the Carson Wentz
But
experiment.
how long is that sustainable?
Exactly.
Right? But I think running the ball with Barkley, if he's healthy, is sustainable. So that could be a nice little underrated team to get in there and slide into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the New York Giants all hinge on Daniel Jones and his fumbles and dumb turnovers. If he doesn't have any of those, they can go a long way.
Yeah.
But I also think now nobody really tanks. It's hard to tank in the NFL. All these guys are playing for a job. But the Giants might be in the market for a new quarterback come the draft next year.
Lamar might be a free agent. Well, and they can franchise tag him. I get it, but I mean, think about it. If that's the offense that Daboll wants to run, and he doesn't have Josh Allen, what's another option there? I mean, like that would be a good fit, I think, up there.
Daniel Jones?
No, had Lamar.
Oh, Lamar, yeah.
Having Lamar with Brian Daboll,
Lamar's not as beefy as Josh Allen, I would say.
I don't know. Have you seen him lately? He put on 15 pounds of muscle this year.
I have not seen him.
He's a hoss.
But Josh Allen's huge.
Yeah, I know. But Josh Allen gets hit just like Lamar does. So everybody just take that with a...
Look, the Ravens are Lamar's team. He's not going anywhere. He's going to get paid.
I
Don't you worry.
I hope he gets his just desserts, man. The kid's earned it. I mean, he's absolutely earned it. He's got an MVP into his belt. He's got a playoff win on the road. Has he made it to the Super Bowl yet? No, but how many quarterbacks how many quarterbacks have played in the league that have never gotten to the playoffs, have never made it to a Super Bowl, have never won a Super Bowl? Let's give this guy some time.
Yeah, you look at, speaking of quarterbacks like that, Matt Stafford, his whole career at the Lions.
Right.
He had Hall of Fame numbers at the Lions his whole tenure there. Now, I don't know if he would have gotten voted in just because he was on the Lions. And they had one playoff win, maybe? I think while he was there.
I don't think they had one.
Yeah, but still, he does all that. He's a great quarterback. Great, fun guy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
He gets put into the right system at the Rams. They go win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Now he's automatically a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the ring and the stats to go with it. So, all right. Well, stay tuned. Listen to ESPN Northwest Florida right here on 104.3, or you can check us out on the ESPN Northwest Florida app. We're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, we'll go over some more headlines and do a little bit of trivia with you guys.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
If Saquon stays healthy, here comes an outrageous prediction. Ready? 2,500 all-purpose yards. They don't have a very good quarterback. But he's better than what Saquon had. They've improved the offensive line. He could have 2,500 all-purpose yards this season.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings starting at 5 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi, I'm Tracy, your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to be helpful and to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Pick your sparkle and use our easy layaway plan. Every woman deserves an exquisite diamond from your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We don't work on commissions.
We work for smiles and I-dos.
So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, stop by and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
It's time to let the fall adventures begin in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 3.49% up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and write your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We make buying a car easy and will give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down card. Gotta be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 10/31/22.
Live from the Rib Crib studio. They said it couldn't be done. The Afternoon Underdogs are live.
They say it can't be done.
Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. I'm AG, subbing in for David Hayes, who's off covering the Mosley Dolphins there at Tommy Oliver. We'll have that action for you starting at 6:30 with the pregame show. It'll be Dave and Kyle Wright. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, the Atlanta Braves are making a push for the playoffs, and we are still your home for the Atlanta Braves here on the Gulf Coast. Check out your next game on Tuesday due to other fun activities going on with the pigskin. Stay up. Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by Bill Bird Kia, Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Ellis Agency Insurance, Panama City Toyota, PCB Coins and Cards, Brock's Pest Control, Guthrie's, and ESPN Northwest Florida. So we'll get back to the Braves here in just a second, but I want to make Miles do a little work here and make sure you guys light up the phone lines with some answers to this next trivia question. Which player holds the record for the most career rushing touchdowns by a quarterback?
Joe Namath?
You don't get to answer. You don't get to answer.
Oh, that was a joke.
Okay. All right. Make sure you guys call in 850-215-6290 for the prize pack of Barbaritos gift card, Buddy Gandy's seafood gift card, and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. And we'll be picking those prizes up at the new studio at 204B Ellen Avenue in Panama City off Thomas Drive.
I got an NFL question for you.
Yeah, have at it.
Do you see Miami making a run in the playoffs this year? Or is that a next year thing? Not this year, but next year.
Again, it's just like with Jameis. It depends on Tua. If Tua can make the right reads, make the right decisions, I don't see why not. I mean, that division outside of Buffalo, I see 4 wins between the Patriots and the Jets for the Dolphins there. So, can they get it done with the rest of their schedule? We'll see. It's going to be, I think, a tougher schedule for them than what they were hoping for, but we'll see what happens with that. I think the Thursday game against the Bengals is going to show people, what they're fully capable of.
Yeah, I like their new head coach too a lot. He's bringing some of that 49ers offense over with the speed they now have in Miami. It's fun to watch.
It is. It's electric. All right, so make sure you guys answer that trivia question, 850-215-6290. Which player holds the record for the most career rushing touchdowns by a quarterback? All right, so before we get into some college football, like I said, in the next hour, let's touch on the Atlanta Braves here real quick, right? They're a game back, New York Mets. Mets are hosting Pittsburgh this weekend. Braves have an opportunity here because they've got a 3 or 4 game set coming up with the Mets in September. They're playing the Phillies this weekend, which could move Philly pretty much out of that playoff race if it's not a good series for Philadelphia. But the Braves are playing good baseball. They're a game back of the New York Mets, and I think if you're a Braves fan, starting this season out after losing Freddie Freeman, if you were told you were only a game out in September, middle of September, I think Braves fans would jump all over that. Yeah,
it's just like last year. Last year they clinched real late. They have another opportunity to do it this year. And hey, the Mets are going to Met. That's what I believe. I think the Braves are going to end up clinching the division. I can't see the Mets doing it. I think the Braves, I don't think they sweep the Mets, but their next series, I think the Braves win 2-1. Pretty sure it's a 3-game series. Mm-hmm. But I see the Braves doing that. What do you think happens in the next few weeks?
The Braves starting pitching has been, pretty stellar here of late, and that's what the Mets have going for them right now with Scherzer and DeGrom. So it's going to be interesting to see what matchups we see in that 3-game series because I think this division boils down to that series. I think both teams are going to stay right there. Whether the Braves are up a game going in that series, or the Mets are up a game, or they're tied, whatever the case may be, I think it's going to be that close going into that series. And I think that 3-game set is going to be must watch baseball.
Yeah, and it all depends how their rotation schedule works on who will be pitching those games that week, how it's all going right now, what it looks like then. But I think the Mets are pretty beatable when they don't have their aces on the mound.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to get into their bullpen where they've got a 2 or 3 run lead. It's one of those situations where the game's tied or you're leading and you've got their bullpen coming in. Yeah, now you have a winnable situation for the Braves. Dansby Swanson, it's been reported today that the Braves and Dansby are close to a 4-year deal. And it ranges anywhere between $12 and $20 million a year. I'm not sure where the Braves are looking at in terms of, dollar-wise for Dansby. But we've talked about this on the show before where, is he a Carlos Correa or a Trey Turner? No. But he's had a really, really great year this year. And, he's shown flashes of the shortstop that the Braves want him to be. So, I look at him as that, that $15, $16 million a year shortstop. And if you do that over 4 years, now you have basically that entire team for Atlanta there for the next, 5 years?
Yeah, minimum.
Right.
And I think that's a really good number you have for him right there. He's not that top-tier guy. He's just not. But what he is a key piece to that Braves team. And I think the Braves, all those guys, I wouldn't say they're taking pay cuts. They know what they want to make. If they wanted to make more, some of them would leave. But there's a reason all these guys are staying with the Braves. A lot of them have all been teammates for a few years now. They all like each other. They know they have a good chance to win every single year when they're all together. And they want to keep it together as long as they can.
Yeah, and it's definitely an interesting dynamic when you look at what AA's been able to do with that roster construction and in keeping those guys together, because that's not what baseball's been about here in the last 20 years. Is that free agent market is crazy, and you got guys going different places, one every 2-3 years, or like in Carlos Correa's case, he's only in Minnesota this year. He's opting out after this year because it was put into his contract for a reason.
How much did he get paid to go there this year?
That was like 26.
That's probably a big factor why he went there also.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So, so what the Braves have been able to do is it's definitely anomalous. It's crazy. They're bucking the trend, if you will, in baseball, and I'm here for it. Because as a Reds fan, I would love to see the young talent that we do have and the talent that we accrued this year, trading away everybody. I would love to be able to say, yeah, here in 2024, 2025, 2026, up through 2028, like the Braves have going on. I'd love to see that core stick around and play together and be just one solid unit, like the Braves are doing right now. So I would love to see that trend start taking place throughout Major League Baseball, to where we don't have these guys that are just going from team to team and doing like the NBA and just going after championships. I want to see them stay true to what they set out to do, and what the team wants, and try to put a winner out there on the field with everybody together.
I'm ready to see what it's going to look like. We got Robert on the line for trivia.
All right, Robert, we got about a minute. How you doing, bud?
Hey, pretty good. Listen, I think the answer is Cam Newton. Is that right?
You are correct.
That is 100% correct. He has 75 rushing touchdowns as a quarterback. So
sure does.
You just want a gift card for Barbaritos, Buddy Gandy's, and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. Make sure you text Miles in to 850-215-6290 so we can get your information, and we'll let you know when you can pick up your prize pack over at the new studio over off of Thomas Drive. Okay, we appreciate you listening, Robert. And
hey, can I get one last quick comment?
Sure.
Guys, I want to ask you all a question. The greatest quarterback of all time. Now, I know Brady's the most accomplished, But as far as the greatest, and I look at his talent, the way they play the position, I'm going to go with Joe Montana, only because I'm saying, I want you guys to react on this, only because he could beat you in so many different ways. And if I had to go 80 yards and I had 2 minutes to go, I'm taking Montana over anybody that's ever played the game. I know we got great ones. And my last comment is going to be this. I think when they talk about the great quarterbacks, I think it's very sad that Drew Brees is never mentioned, at least in the top 5. He was a phenomenal quarterback. And if he only had a defense.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm going to say. I'll listen to what you guys got to say on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. We appreciate the phone call, and we appreciate you chiming in on the trivia. We'll touch base on a little bit of Joe Montana and Drew Brees when we get back. We up against a break here. We do appreciate Robert and all of you guys listening to ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida.
Your home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the most live sports on the Panhandle. Premier NFL games every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. Triple header for you this Sunday. Patriots at Steelers, Texans at Broncos, and Bears at Packers. And tonight, it's the Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Coverage coming up at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:15. The NFL on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Dave & Buster's and Instant Replay Sports Cards.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, around 90 degrees this afternoon. Northeast wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 85. There might be a stray shower thunderstorm tonight, partly to mostly clear in the low 70s. Better chance of showers and thunderstorms Friday through the weekend, highs in the 80s. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Tiger TV Pro is a new streaming service that provides you with over 3,000 channels for only $15 a month. You probably spend more than that on lunch these days. Get local channels, entertainment networks, premium movie channels, news and weather channels, and more. Tiger TV Pro even includes all the sports networks, including ACC, SEC, NFL, MLB, and NHL. Sign up's easy. Just go to ESPNPC.com, scroll down, and click the Tiger logo.
At Panama City Toyota, our family is probably a lot like yours. We're soccer moms and baseball dads, road trippers and errand runners. We go off-road when we need to, and what we know is that a lot of stuff happens in life, and your vehicle needs to do the stuff you do. So we sell reliable cars that keep you moving, and tough trucks that can handle whatever you dish out, even a season of professional tailgating. Panama City Toyota, car people for life's journey.
The Beach Care Services dinner is back. The last dinner was in 2019 due to COVID, and the charity has felt the impact. But Beach Care Services is beyond excited for the return of Dinner on the Bay. This fun, family-friendly event features a 3-course dinner, block party, $5,000 cash raffle, and jewelry raffle. Join our community for a night of fun, October 4th from 5 to 9 at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. Proceeds go to helping our locals in times of need. Tickets available on Eventbrite under Dinner on the Bay.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida. Live from the Rib Crib Studio. We are live and local. From Camp Helen State Park to the historic Martin Theater.
Definitely time to let our hair down and have some fun.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room on ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. Make sure you're tuning in the Mariana area into 102.1 as well as 101.9 if you're in the Port St. Joe area. I'm your host today, AG Adam Goff, along with Miles Lashley on the ones and twos. Robert, our trivia winner, congratulations to him, and he wanted our takes on Joe Montana versus Brady, and also he threw in a little bit of Drew Brees there. Joe Montana was the mastermind behind the other 2 Super Bowl losses that the Bengals had, so I got to witness. I didn't get to see the first one. I've seen highlights, but from what I remember from Joe Montana was the dude was just the consummate winner. Whatever needed to be done, on a particular drive, the guy was able to do it. He had the arm talent, he had the head for it. And Bill Walsh being his coach, putting in that West Coast offense in the NFL with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and all that other talent that they had on offense and defense. That guy was surrounded by talent, but he thrived. He had a decent little run in Kansas City when San Francisco parted ways and they went with Steve Young. I think that kind of knocks Joe Montana down a little bit, but Tom Brady left New England because he wasn't wanted either. We've seen how that's paid off for New England, and we've seen how that's paid off for Tom Brady. Now, Joe Montana wasn't able to capitalize on his move to Kansas City the way Tom Brady was to Tampa, but it doesn't take anything away from what Joe was able to do.
Yeah, and on Drew Brees, he's one of my favorite players to watch growing up, one of the first ones I remember. The reason I don't think he gets talked about as much, I have him in my top 5, but I think the reason he doesn't get talked about as much is because his Super Bowl was in 2009 or 2010, about 12 years ago. That's a long time ago. We're in the future. The furthest we go back when we're talking about these players and stuff, it's about 6-7 years.
Yeah, but we're still talking about Aaron Rodgers, and that was 2012.
Yeah, okay, well, that's what I was about to get at. We talk about Aaron Rodgers because he has 2 back-to-back MVPs the past 2 years. Now, if Drew Brees did that at the end of his career, we'd probably still be talking about him. But he didn't. His arm gave out on him. It was sad to watch. But Aaron Rodgers is still slinging that thing around. That's why Aaron Rodgers is still getting talked about. He's still a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's still in that top 5 with Brady, Joe Montana, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and for me, Drew Brees, when he was with the Chargers, and then they go and they bring in Phillip Rivers and they let Drew Brees walk. I think that was a move that not only the Chargers, I think, are, kicking themselves over. And Phillip Rivers was a great quarterback. He had a great run there, but he wasn't able to get them over the hump. So then what ends up happening is he goes to the Saints, right? But everybody said that he was going to the Dolphins and Nick Saban. Of course, the Dolphins chose Dante Culpepper, which
Nick Saban did not pick him.
Right. That's why I said the Dolphins. I didn't say Nick Saban. So that's why I said, I've said it all along that I don't think Alabama football is what it is today if Drew Brees goes to Miami, because Nick Saban's not going to Alabama, because I think you're probably winning championships down in Miami with Drew Brees and Nick Saban there.
Now back onto the Chargers. So Phillip Rivers' whole career there, we saw them every Sunday, the late slate. You'd turn your TV on, the Chargers would be down about anywhere from 10 to 21 points, and Phillip Rivers would be clawing and scratching to get back into the game. Now that we saw Justin Herbert last night, is this flashing to what's going to happen in the future? The Chargers being that same old team that's down in the fourth quarter a lot, having to claw back and losing most of the time. Or do you think Justin Herbert takes them to the playoffs in the next level?
Two different types of quarterbacks, right? You had Drew Brees, which, he's 5'11", 6 foot, could barely throw over the offensive line, but he had a strong enough arm and to get it done. Herbert is just a monster out there. I mean, he's an absolute beast of a human being, and I think he has better arm talent than Drew Brees does. So I think the biggest biggest obstacle for Justin Herbert, I don't think it's the Chargers. I think it's the other teams around him. You look at the number of young quarterbacks that we've already touched on that are just in the AFC. Just look at his division. Russell Wilson, Hall of Famer. Patrick Mahomes, gonna be a Hall of Famer. And then you've got a Derek Carr who, by any stretch of the imagination, is a good quarterback. Now, he's not in the same class as those other three, but, if you were to tell me that, Derek Carr is going to be, a quarterback for the next 5 years on a winning franchise, I'd say, yeah, I believe
he's got all the pieces around him now.
Right, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and what plays out with Justin Herbert and the Chargers and the rest of his career, but I think a lot of other factors are going to have more to do with his success or lack thereof moving forward.
I totally agree with all of that. You can get in some of these questions.
Yeah. So what's the weird week one game that we'll look back upon at the end of the season and we'll scratch our heads?
I wanted to say the Broncos and Seahawks, but we already talked about that. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go with the Colts and Texans.
Yeah.
I think the Texans are going to be another one of those teams that we look back at the end of the year. They are who we thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Colts are going to get a lot better throughout the year. And as the year goes on, it's Matty Ice's first year up there. He's learning everything. They're going to come together, and I think they're going to be a playoff team this year.
I like that. For me, it's the Giants-Titans. And it's not because of necessarily just the Giants, right? It's everybody thinks, oh, well, the Titans, Derrick Henry and, that defense and, but that team should have won that game against the Giants. And I know I picked the Giants to be one of these kind of underrated teams, under the radar teams to kind of, maybe make some noise and sneak into the playoffs. But, that game, the Titans just absolutely crapped the bed. Mike Vrabel looked like he had never coached a day in his life before that game. And that just can't happen. And so for me, that game, we're going to look back on and we're going to say, why were we so high on the Titans and why did we think that they should beat the Giants?
I like that. I think the Giants have a chance. They have a new coach, but again, it's their quarterback.
Yeah. So buy or sell this, Miles. This will be the first postseason without either the Patriots or the Steelers since 2000.
I'm buying this all day. I think this is going to happen. There's going to be a postseason with neither of these two teams. I think Mac Jones has a lot to work on, and the Patriots, they need to hire a real offensive coordinator, not Joe Judge and Matt Patricia.
Yeah, what is that whole thing going on?
Well,
up there?
I think Belichick hired those guys. So when the season tumbles or something bad happens, well, hey, I'm not calling the plays. This defensive guy and special teams
he
coach
did
are
what
calling
Mike
the plays.
McCarthy did today when he threw Kellen Moore under the bus and said, well, he's got to do better.
Yeah, it's never the head coach's fault.
Right.
Never. But I think this year will be the first time since 2000, first time since I was born that these two teams haven't been in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, they've been staples, obviously.
Yeah, well, the Steelers are always over 500. I
Right.
think they do again this year. I just don't know if they get in the playoffs with the other teams in their division.
Yeah. I mean, I'm buying it as well. I don't trust the Steelers offensively, whether it's Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. But the Patriots, for me, look like an absolute train wreck. Everybody talks about the New York Jets and, how bad they looked and, or have looked over the last few years. And that team reminds me a lot of some of these New York Jets teams where, you had a decent quarterback and supposedly you had great weapons around him or good weapons around him, and then they just don't produce. And that's something that I think we're going to look back on this Patriots organization, and we're going to say it really was Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I really do, and I'm because I don't think Bill Belichick, great coach, probably the best we've seen in a very, very long time, if not the best. But Tom Brady had more to do with that success than Bill Belichick did, and there's a lot of people out there just because they're Tom Brady haters that don't want to admit that.
Yeah, and there's a reason. There's a reason in the NFL you don't get a quarterback. He does real good. Then when he falls off, you get rid of him. You keep that guy when he's your franchise guy. You keep him as long as you can, good or bad, if he's done you really good before. But standing up there in the Northeast, the New York Jets, I think current day right now, they're a few pieces away. Coach, quarterback, of one or two pieces
They've
away from being a really good team.
Up there. I know Salah's a great defensive coordinator, but they've got to get an offensive mind up there. And one of the hardest things about playing up there, and you can ask Eli Manning this, you can ask any quarterback that played in that stadium. If you don't have a quarterback that has a strong enough arm to get that ball and cut it through the wind, you're not going to have any success up there. And you're going to need that quarterback, which I think Wilson could be if he gets put, the right pieces around him in terms of coaching. But they need an offensive mind up there to lead that team.
I'm ready to see what they look like, and when Zach Wilson comes back, if he's the guy.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing, right? I mean they had 3 first-rounders.
They had a great draft.
They had a great draft. And it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do in that division. Do they finish fourth or do they finish third? Right now, I'm thinking if Wilson comes back and he's healthy and they can do what we think they can do, or they do what we think they can do, I think they finish third in that division. And the Patriots, round out in fourth place.
I totally can see that happening.
Yeah. All right. Who's most likely to get a big contract in 2023? Baker Mayfield, Marcus Mariota, or Jimmy Garoppolo?
For me, I'm going Jimmy G all day.
Where?
I don't know where yet.
Okay.
I think all the options are they're not all open. Depends when he if he gets traded or he goes to free agency after this year. But he's going to get paid no matter where he goes. He's a proven winner. And if he can sit back behind Trey Lance and let Trey Lance do his thing and stay healthy this whole year, I think he'll get a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say Trey Lance gets hurt and Jimmy G goes out and has a few bad games. He's not going to get as much. But Trey Lance Jimmy G would love to play right now. I know he wants to. And I do see him playing later this season. Right now, I do not think Trey Lance is that guy. And I was reading earlier, there's going to be more bad weather for the 49ers this weekend, like 20-mile-an-hour winds, rain. Yeah. So we'll see how Trey Lance does in the rain again. Hopefully it's a little better.
Yeah.
But, I see out of this group right here, I see Jimmy G getting a big payday after this year.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota, I hate to say this about him because I don't know him from Adam, but he's a throwaway quarterback, at least for the Falcons. He's a bridge, right? Is he a bridge to Desmond Ridder? We don't know. Or is he a bridge to a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young? We don't know. Or is there another free agent quarterback out there that they're eyeing that they want, to run their team? I think for me it's Baker Mayfield. I think you're going to see enough out of Baker as long as he stays healthy that you're going to see him catching on somewhere. It may be Carolina or it may not be, but I think you're going to see a Baker Mayfield get a contract before these other two guys. Jimmy G, I can see him going to a Seattle, but at the same time, what's Seattle's organizational direction? Are they going to go young at quarterback, or are they going to go the veteran that has been to a Super Bowl and been in an NFC Championship?
I think it depends on Pete Carroll. If Pete Carroll wants to get back to winning championships right away, you got to take the guy who's proven.
He's no spring chicken either. Isn't he older than Saban?
He's 70.
Yeah, so.
We got Billy on the line. Want to talk Florida State?
Yeah, let's go, Billy. What you got, buddy?
Man, I'm excited for them, Simmons. First of all, first-time caller, long-time listener. Love you, fellas. Really appreciate everything you do to bring it to the airwaves every day. I'm calling because Florida State is playing Loserville tonight, or Louisville, or I don't know how you actually say it, but the Cardinals of Louisville. And I just got to say, everyone's sleeping on Florida State. We are going to win tonight in Louisville, Kentucky. Kentucky's not even a football state. I don't know why the game's even being held there, but Mike Norvell is going to take them fellas down there into Louisville, Kentucky, and they are going to come out of there with a big W. Anybody listening from Louisville is a loser.
I'm right there with you, but not on the loser part from Louisville. But right, I see Florida State winning.
Well, Billy, we appreciate the phone call. We're going to talk about our college football game picks here in the next segment. We appreciate you listening, and you've been listening to ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins.
It's the Mosley Dolphins versus the Leon Lions, live from Tommy Oliver Stadium tonight. Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7, right here. Sponsored by Southern Orthopedic Specialists, Panama City Toyota, Tavario Solutions, Gulf Coast Aquarium, Barano Heating and Air Conditioning, Barbaritos, Team MVP, Ellis Agency Insurance, First Federal Bank, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, around 90 degrees this afternoon. Northeast wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 85. There might be a stray shower or thunderstorm tonight, partly to mostly clear in the low 70s. Better chance of showers and thunderstorms Friday through the weekend, highs in the 80s. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
It's time to let the fall adventures begin in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 3.49% up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and write your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We make buying a car easy and will give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 10/31/22.
Earthworks of Northwest Florida knows it's a perfect time for you to update your home. Whether it's routine touch-ups or a new look, Earthworks has just what you need. Sand, stone, mulch, and gravel, pickup or delivery. Visit earthworks.com and request a quote. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Love the land you live on. Earthworks of Northwest Florida, 2005 Industrial Drive.
If you can't take the heat,
If the Braves don't do something now, there won't be a playoff.
stay out of the kitchen. Uncompromising sports talk lives here. Now back to the Rip Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back in the Rip Crib Radio Room. I'm AG Adam Goff along with Miles Lashley here on ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. And we are your new radio home for the Mosley Dolphins. Follow the Mosley Dolphins and Coach Tommy Joe Whidden. The excitement and the crowds of high school football are back. We have live play-by-play with David Hayes and Kyle Wright. Tonight, after our show, make sure you stay tuned at 6:30. Dave and Kyle will have the pregame as the Mosley Dolphins host Leon out of Tallahassee. Coverage starts at 6:30. Like I said, game will kick off at 7. Mosley Dolphins football is sponsored by Southern Orthopedic Specialists, Panama City Toyota, Tavario Solutions, Gulf Coast Aquarium, Barano Heating and Air Conditioning, Barbaritos, Team MVP, Ellis Agency Insurance, and First Federal Bank. All right, and we've got a caller on the line who wants to talk some high school football, Miles.
Yep.
Who
All right,
we
we
got?
ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. I want to just give compliments to a couple of teams that played at the stadium last night who were dealing with a combined 0-6 record. Mariana came out victorious. I want to tell the Rutherford Rams to keep their heads up and just keep working at it. And one interesting point about Mariana, they have a passel of running backs, you might say, and one of them had ran like 7 times for 25 yards. Well, they decided to give him the ball, and he ran for over 100, and they look a lot better. And hopefully Rutherford will look better. I'll be listening to your quarterback, David Hayes, tonight with Florida State's volume turned down. Y'all have a great one.
Well, we appreciate you listening as always, and thanks for the call and the update on some local high school football here in the Bay Area. Miles, let's get to some college football here. We've been kind of leaning toward it all show, but let's actually delve into this. What does Nebraska look like versus Oklahoma this week?
You know, I think there's a fire under them now that Scott Frost is gone. I think all their teams rallied around the new guy there. They're ready to come out and show what they can do. I think Nebraska puts up a lot better of a fight than people are giving them this week versus Oklahoma. And it's at Nebraska.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because, you know, Nebraska could have waited until, October 1st and paid him half of what they paid him to get him out of there. So it's always interesting to see because you're going to see one of two things. You're either going to see a Nebraska, like you said, that's fired up, or you're going to see one that just comes out and completely just lays down. The team that I've watched over the last couple of weeks, I don't see them getting fired up. I see them absolutely laying down and getting waxed. But that's one of our games that we're going to pick later. But we'll see what that looks like for Nebraska. Everybody talks about, these college football stalwarts like, Miami and Texas and Nebraska and USC, and college football is better when they're great, when they're good, right? Nebraska's not been that for at least 2 decades. So I think that ship might have sailed, and them moving to the Big Ten was definitely, I think, a kick in the pants for their football program. Probably did great for other programs, but their football program, it definitely did not work out, I think, the way they were hoping. So how about this game? FSU, Florida State Seminoles at my Louisville Cardinals. Miles, you posed this question. Does the winner of this make a run in the ACC?
I think the winner of this, I wouldn't say they make a run to the championship, but they can come in a second or third place, and that's a great season for either of these teams right here, I think.
Yeah, this game is interesting from a couple different standpoints. This game is not interesting if Louisville loses to UCF last Friday, because then you have an 0-2 team that simply just has not gotten the job done in year 4 under Scott Satterfield. But you've got a coach in Mike Norvell coming off a big win at LSU, had the bye week last week, so they've had over about 2 weeks to prepare for this game. It's Louisville's first home game. They've had a big win against UCF, and I know people are going to laugh and balk, but it was a big win for that program, especially coming off of that Syracuse loss. So I don't see Louisville making a run if they win this game, but I could see Florida State making a run just based off of the momentum gained after beating LSU in New Orleans and then going on the road and beating Louisville, which they've not done in a few years.
And I think Syracuse is a team in the ACC you have to watch out for this year.
Could be. The quarterback Schrader looked really good. Has looked really good this year so far. So it's going to be interesting to see. But we'll touch on this game a little bit later when we do our picks as well. Moving on, we got Texas A&M starting your boy Max Johnson, right? Brad Johnson's son. Does that give the team a boost?
I think it does. I think last week gave them enough of a boost, even if Hayes King was starting this week. But with Max Johnson there, a new guy, maybe the team rallies around him a little bit more. I think A&M's are in a really good spot with him. Now we have to see what he can do on the field. But if he can just do the simple stuff, they'll have a good shot to win this game.
You've got an upstart Miami team coming in, right? They're trying to make some noise in their own right. I think you're going to see a really good battle between these two teams. But the thing that I want to see is if Texas A&M were to lose this game, I want to see that 12th man go away. I want you to stop having your little practices.
The midnight yell?
Yeah, where you're talking about all these schools and these teams that you're just going to whip up on. Like, you have no idea.
Well, and Jimbo's seat has got to get a little hotter if they lose this weekend.
I don't think it does, though. I mean, I agree with you, but
paid the man $75 million, and he went 8-4 last year, 8-4 the year before. When's he going? And he has all the talent in the world. Mm-hmm. He has just as much as Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Ohio State. He has all that talent.
Yeah, but the problem is that he's having to face those teams every single year, and in an out-of-conference game against Miami, that's nothing to shake a stick at. You know, so you're taking chances here. You take on an App State team, which has shown since they went up there to the Big House in Ann Arbor that they can play with the big boys every now and again. Scott Satterfield, Louisville's coach, came from App State. He was the head coach of that team. But then we've seen what that App State team has done this year. So, kudos to them for, going out and taking these chances. But, man, you got to beat these teams. And, I don't think it puts Jimbo on the hot seat if he loses this one. But
it's getting warmer.
It's getting warmer. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Mississippi State and Will Rogers at LSU. Brian Kelly's first SEC game.
I think he's really glad that this is at home for him and he's not on the road in his first SEC game. I think he's really going to see this weekend that it just means more. And it's a big family thing.
Right.
But, yeah, Brian Kelly, Mississippi State's not ranked this year. I think they should be. But they're a good program. LSU has all the players, too. They have all that talent. I'm not going to sit there and say they're all 4 and 5 stars like the big name programs, but they have good talent. It's all about coaching there right now. They got the guys. They got to get them coached. Brian Kelly's got to put it together this weekend. LSU fans are ruthless. They might start calling for his job if he loses this.
Yeah, Orgeron brought you the best season in college football that you've ever seen, and then 2 years later he's gone. So my question for this game is if Mississippi State, if the Bulldogs are able to go in there and get that W, what does that do for Mike Leach?
It's his third year, like I've been saying. His third year at Texas Tech, I think he went 9-3. Third year at Wazoo, I think he won 11 games that year. Everywhere he's gone, his third year is a big year. And he has Will Rogers this year. Third-year quarterback in that system. He knows it on the front and back of his hand. I think they're going to have a fun and good year.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing Mike Leach have success at an SEC school because that's always been kind of the question that abounds when you bring up Mike Leach's name. Is like, okay, well, you did it in the Pac-12. All right, well, you did it in the Big 12. Now do it in the SEC. And if he's able to do it in the SEC, then you can look back at Mike Leach's career and say, yeah, he's probably one of the top 10 coaches in college football, while he was there. And he's missing that key marquee game and season. And maybe this is it.
Yeah, and being able to run the air raid in all those different conferences and do it successfully, that's something huge. And this year you've already seen Mississippi State started to run the ball a lot more than they have the past 2 years.
Yeah.
If the air raid's running the ball, you can't just rush 3 and drop 8. You got to rush 4.
Yeah. Penn State at Auburn. You can hear this game right here on ESPN 104.3 on Saturday at 2:30. Do Brian Harsin and Auburn need this win more than Penn State does?
I think he does. Their AD is already gone. I think the AD is the only one in that administration that had his back when all the stuff was going on over the summer. Brian Harsin has to have a 7-8 win year this year, or I think he's done.
You think 7 is enough?
Yeah, I do. Look, I put Auburn, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, all in the kind of same category.
Tier, yeah.
Dan Mullen could have had a job for life at Mississippi State. You have a few bad years, but you win 8-9 games every 3-4 years. You have a job for life. That's how it is there. I think Auburn's another one like that, especially being in state with Alabama. And they can, even though that they have some of those bad years, you saw last year, they weren't that good. They almost beat Alabama. It's something about playing Auburn every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brian Harsin needs this win bad.
See, for me, even if it's an 8-win season for Auburn, and say they play Alabama and they just get absolutely just beat down, I still think he gets fired because of all the factors that you brought up with, he wasn't the booster's choice, then all of the drama, whether it was, made up or not, it was still drama. It was still, surrounding that program. And then all the coaching changes that program underwent. If it's 8 wins and one of those wins is Alabama, yeah, I think he keeps his job.
I just can't. I think he's got to win 7 or 8. That's the number.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, you're listening to ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. Make sure you check us out on the app as well. We're going to take a quick time out here. When we get back, we'll go over our Week 3 picks. And Caveman, good old buddy Caveman, will be calling in to share with us as well.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins.
It's the Mosley Dolphins versus the Leon Lions, live from Tommy Oliver Stadium tonight. Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7, right here. Sponsored by Southern Orthopedic Specialists, Panama City Toyota, Tavario Solutions, Gulf Coast Aquarium, Barano Heating and Air Conditioning, Barbaritos, Team MVP, Ellis Agency Insurance, First Federal Bank, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
PCB Coins and Cards is the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, coins, and trading card games. PCB Coins and Cards carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Coins and Cards has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel, rookie, game used, and autograph cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? Bring it in and let us take a look. We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Coins and Cards on Back Beach Road just east of Florida Linen. Call them today at 850-320-8388.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likens with another Car Clinic Minute. Your car spark plugs are like an infantry. They work hard and fire a lot. How many times do spark plugs fire? And what can you do to keep them in shape? When we come back, I'll tell you.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
When your odometer clicks 10,000 miles, your spark plugs have fired 15 million times, transmitting enough electricity to power home appliances for 15 months. This high-voltage current, heat, and chemical erosion eat away the firing gap, widening it so much that plugs can't make their spark, resulting in wasted gas, lost power, and polluted air, if you can get your car started at all. So have your hard-working spark plugs replaced for most cars every 30,000 miles. Replacing marginal or misfiring plugs will save you heartburn and money. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 850-215-6290.
When you have completed dialing, listen for the ringing signal.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back here in the Rib Crib Radio Room. I'm AG Adam Goff along with Miles Lashley on the ones and twos. You're listening to ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida, and we are collecting items for Hurricane Relief America. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida reminds listeners in Northwest Florida and South Alabama to be prepared. It's hurricane season, and we are collecting items residents here and around the country will need in the event of a hurricane. Non-perishable food items, cases of bottled water, cleaning supplies, baby food, first aid, batteries, socks, underwear. The list goes on and on. You can drop those off right here at the radio, or actually not here at this station, at this studio. We're going to be moving over to our new station at 204B Ellen Avenue in Panama City. Sorry, I was trying to catch my breath there. Over off of Thomas Drive, and you can drop those off. And then Hurricane Relief America is sponsored by Event Production, Blab TV, and 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Miles, do we have our buddy K-Man on the line?
We do.
K-Man, what's going on, bud? How you feeling?
Yo, I'm all right, man. Wish I was feeling better. Miss being with you guys, but I'm probably for the best. But we'll get through it. No biggie.
All right, well, we miss you in studio as well, man. So, big week of college football coming up. Right now, it looks like the standings. Looks like we've got Amanda coming in number one right now at 14-6. Dave is right behind her at 13-7. K-Man, you're at 12-8 right there as well. Miles is at 11-9, and then I'm at 10-10, so I'm at 500. So had a little bit of a bounce back week. So we'll see how everybody does after this fantastic weekend of college football. So our first game.
It's a long season.
It is. So the first game of the this weekend that we're gonna pick is going to be Oklahoma at Nebraska. Oklahoma is giving 12.5 points.
I'm gonna go with for me. I think it's Nebraska all day. I think they're fired up after their coach is gone. They're all rallied together now. They have something to prove, and it's at Nebraska. I got to pick Nebraska here.
Okay, man.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Miles too. I mean, if not now, when with Nebraska? Frost was just a total mess. I'm sure those guys are probably glad maybe to have him gone, so maybe they'll step up and play. So yeah, I think that they'll cover with those points. It'll help them out.
All right, I'm going to be on an island here as far as the three of us. I'm going to go Oklahoma to cover. I don't think it's going to be close in this one. I think you're going to see a Nebraska team that's just going to give up and lay down. Next game is number 12 BYU at number 25 Oregon. Oregon is favored by 3.5.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my Cougars. They're still my sleeper to be number 4 in the playoff this year. They've played good so far. They have one of the hardest schedules in the country. I'm going with BYU.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much out of Oregon as far as how BYU's been playing lately. They've been traveling around, playing great games, so I'm taking BYU.
Yeah, I'm with you guys as well here. I just don't trust Bo Nix in Oregon, so give me BYU in that upset, if that's what you want to call it. Next game we have the game you can hear right here on ESPN 104.3 on Saturday at 2:30. The 22nd ranked Nittany Lions of Penn State are at Auburn, and Penn State favored by 2.5. Who you got in this one, K-Man?
2.5 points, man. It's awfully tight. But I'm actually going to take Auburn. I think they actually kind of need it more, like the coach needs it more. So I think they're going to be pressing. So I'll take Auburn, yes.
Yeah, for me, this one's a toss-up. I'm only taking Auburn because it's at home, and that stadium's one of the hardest places to play in the country. So I got to go with Auburn.
Yeah, I'm right there along with you guys. I think you're going to see two teams that are going to be pretty evenly matched. But I think the factor of being at Jordan Hare is going to play a big role, and so I'd give me Auburn in this one as well. Next game, it would be a little bit off the radar here. However, College Game Day is going to be right there in Boone, North Carolina, as App State hosts Troy. Troy, another local area university as well. App State is favored by 12.5.
I'm going to go with App State. I think they keep the momentum rolling. Game day's there. They're going to be pumped up. From what I've heard from my sources up in North Carolina and Boone, every department store up there has run out of posters. So I'm going with App State.
Yeah, App State's been on a roll. I mean, you get game day. That's just a reward in itself, just showing that you kind of deserve a little something special because of, you've been outperforming, your expectations and, like, pretty much the nation's expectations. So I think it'd probably be easy for them to keep rolling. We know they can put points up. Honestly, I don't know how many points Troy can put up in a game, but, yeah, definitely give me App State covering those 12.5 points.
Yeah, again, I'm with you guys as well. App State putting up 40 against North Carolina. They go into Texas A&M and get a big win. I don't think 12.5 is a too big of a number for them to overcome. So give me App State to cover in that one as well. Next game is Texas Tech at number 16 NC State. NC State is favored by 10.5. I'm going to lead off this one here. I think NC State gets the W here. But I think 10.5 is a lot to ask of them to cover. We saw a Texas Tech team take out Houston last week, and a Houston team that I thought was very, very good. So I think NC State does get the W here, but I think Texas Tech does cover. I think we're going to see another close game like we saw with the Red Raiders and Cougars last week.
Caveman?
Yeah, I'm like right there with Adam. I think the points are just a little much. If it was like maybe 1.5 less, maybe it was like 9, then I could see maybe NC State covering those points. But, yeah, give me Texas Tech with the points.
I'm right there with y'all. I think NC State are frauds. They're ranked too high. They haven't shown us that they should be that team that they're supposed to be this year. So I'm going Texas Tech.
All right. Next game we have Mississippi State at LSU. And got what? LSU is 2.5-point underdog.
Yep. So for me, I'm going Mississippi State all the way. I think they're going to shock a lot of people this year. And after this game, they're going to be ranked, and they're going to keep climbing those rankings for a while.
Yeah, Mississippi State, we already talked about Mike Leach, third year, how he easily excels. Points, 2.5 points is hardly nothing. He can put points up pretty quick with that offense. So give me Mississippi State.
Man, this is not very good radio right now. We're just all making the same picks because I'm going with Mississippi State in this one as well. I learned my lesson the last 2 weeks picking against Mississippi State. So give me Mississippi State on the road in that matchup as well. Next game.
Quick,
yeah.
While we're keeping track of this, so obviously we don't want to just take the other side unless you just want to fail on purpose. So that's what I'm doing.
No, I hear you.
Everybody else is doing the same.
I hear you. The next game we've got number 13 Miami at number 24 Texas A&M. A&M is favored by 5.5.
So for me, I'm going A&M all day. They got something to prove now, and if they want a chance at the playoff, they can't lose another game this year. So they're doing everything they can to win this game. They got a new quarterback. Miami's starting receiver and leading receiver is out for this game as well. So I'm taking Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. This is a must-win game for A&M. Let's just, get right down to the bottom of it. So, they need to win this game. So let me take them.
Yeah, we got something different here. Give me Miami in this one. I think I think Texas A&M ends up winning the game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than that 5.5. I think we're looking at more like a 3-point spread there, maybe a last-second field goal for Texas A&M. But Texas A&M went up against a really, really great offense in App State last week, but the fact that their offense couldn't score against App State's defense was a little bit alarming to me.
Especially when North Carolina put up 63 points.
Exactly. So that's a little alarming to me. So give me Miami to cover in that one. UTSA at number 21 Texas. Texas is favored by 11.5.
So this one's kind of easy for me. I'm going UTSA to cover. I think Texas is going to have they're going to have a down game just coming off that high from the Bama game. They all think they would have won it if Quinn Ewers was still in the game. Let's be honest.
Or if they called it a safety like they should have.
Well. We'll look. The world will never know.
Right.
If you can't beat Alabama with the most penalties they've had since 2002, you might never beat them. Anyways, let's get back to this game. I'm taking UTSA. Texas got their backup in now. They're going to take a little bit of a step back.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to agree with Miles again. I mean, if Ewers was playing instead of the backup, what's his name, Card, I believe, or whatever, then I think they have a better chance. I think it's going to be hard after that, big game against Alabama. You're going to have a bit of a hangover, a bit of a letdown. So, and UTSA's been playing really good, so give me UTSA with the points.
Yeah, with the points. And that's the crucial thing. The crucial phrase there is I like Texas to win this game, but that 11.5 I think is going to be a little much with this upstart UTSA squad. So give me UTSA to cover here, but I do think Texas ends up winning the game. If this game was played, away from Austin, it might be a little bit different story. All right, so this next game is a little bit near and dear to my heart. It kicks off tonight at 6:30. We got the Florida State Seminoles at Louisville.
Yeah, so I'm going Florida State here. Louisville didn't.
Hang on real quick. Florida State's favored by 2.5. Let me put that out there.
I'm still going Florida State.
Okay.
Florida State here all day. Louisville hasn't showed me what I wanted to see. They played too close of a game versus, I would say, average UCF team last week. So I got to go with Florida State here.
Shoot, this is a tough one for me, man. The points, man, like 2.5. I don't know which way to go. I'm just thinking about this. I didn't know you guys were going to. Well, I should have known we were going to pick this game. Shouldn't just be a surprise, to be perfectly honest with you, but I haven't been feeling the greatest today. The hell with it. I'm going to probably go Adams' way, man. Give me Louisville, with the points.
All right. I think Louisville wins it outright, and it's not because I feel like they're a better team. I feel like they need it more. Norvell's got his marquee win, against LSU. Satterfield's in his 4th year, and Louisville has to have this win. Otherwise, their season is going to just go down the you-know-what. And I feel like you're going to see a Louisville team with its first home game of the season, crowd coming out and backing them, coming off a good win against UCF, a win that they desperately needed. I think you're going to see a revitalized Louisville team, and so give me Louisville in this one. All right, now last game, and then we're going to take a break here, Mr. Caveman. We've got number 11 Michigan State at Washington. Washington is favored by 3.5.
Mel Tucker all day, baby. I think Michigan State.
I don't understand that line.
Yeah, me either.
Is it because they have to go all the way up to the West Coast?
Yeah, and I mean, Michigan State's looked okay. They haven't looked what they should look like with the money they're paying their head coach. But I got to go with Michigan State here.
Okay, man.
Yeah, for me too. I think I'm going the same way as Miles. Traveling, I don't think is going to be that big of a deal. Washington really hasn't shown me a whole lot, this year. And also because it's kind of hard to watch them because they come on kind of late. So give me Michigan State.
Yeah, I'm with you guys as well. I mean, if this number were reversed and Michigan State was favored by 3.5, I might take Washington in this one. But being that Washington is favored in this game, even though Michigan State's 11th ranked, that doesn't speak a whole lot to me. So give me Michigan State in this one. And, okay, man, we appreciate you calling in, man. We hope you have a great weekend. We're sorry that you're not here, and we hope you start feeling better. And who knows, maybe in the next few days we'll be able to everybody get together and watch some football, okay?
Yeah, let's see. We'll figure it out. Good talking to you guys. Like I said, miss you all again, too. everything should be good. Hopefully be there next week, man. But I'll see you guys after a while, man. Be good. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks, Kate, man. You've been listening to ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick break here, and we get back. We'll finish up our show with this final segment, and we'll go over some not so notable news, and yeah, stay tuned.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your touchdown headquarters for the Mosley Dolphins and the Auburn Tigers.
Touchdown, Auburn!
Plus, premier college and NFL games.
Touchdown! Incredible!
Your source for the most live football on the Gulf Coast in a rich audio experience. 102.1, 104.3 in the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
Tired of being overcharged each month for health insurance or finding out you still have significant out-of-pocket costs from copays or deductibles when you do go see the doctor? Hi, I'm Kevin Shady with KHS & Associates. Our independent insurance agency has helped individuals, families, and even small business employees lower their health care insurance costs with no copays, no 80/20 coinsurance, and no deductibles unless you're hospitalized overnight. Call or text us at 502-386-1128. That's 502-386-1128.
Hi, it's Coach James Hale. Keeping your car looking great is easy as 1, 2, 3 at Blue Sky Express Car Wash. By joining their monthly wash club, you'll get the best bang for your buck. And just 2 car washes, your monthly membership pays for itself. Don't miss the summer deal where all your monthly memberships are 50% off on your first month, starting at $9.99 a month. Become a member today at Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Bat Beach Road, right next to Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
The Lake Sand Scout Show is coming to the Church at the Beach on September 17th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
It's totally free, and you'll get to see some of the great adventures that are possible if you join Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts.
There will be shooting ranges, horseback rides, educational displays, and more.
Oh, and Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts aren't just for boys anymore. You just have to be at least 5 years old. Join today at beascout.org.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
From the Florida Bama line to the Gulf of Mexico, from the Upper Grand Lagoon to McKenzie Park, we are live and local.
Whether you like it or not, you have a gift.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Rib Crib Radio Room, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3. And it's our last segment of the day, and weekend's coming up. Weekend full of fantastic matchups, both football and baseball. Baseball's winding down. Make sure you stay tuned, and make sure you stay tuned to ESPN 104.3 Northwest Florida for your local weather update. It's officially hurricane season. Be sure to rely on Tim Root and ESPN Northwest Florida for the most detailed forecast on the Panhandle, plus breaking weather when it happens. And sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, KHS & Associates, and Earthworks of Northwest Florida. So make sure you get out there, enjoy this beautiful Panhandle weather, or stay tuned to ESPN Northwest Florida on either our radio airwaves or the app. And we got a caller on the line here.
You got Buck on the line, I think, for Buck's Wacky Pick.
Buck's Wacky Pick. What we got going on, brother?
Yeah, we got Buck's Wacky Pick. This is going to be the first one of the year for you guys, but I mean, I've been giving these to myself for about 3 weeks now.
Okay.
So what we got here, I got a little analytics done. We're going to take Connecticut plus 47.5 versus the Michigan Wolverines this week. And I have like 3 bullet points on why, if you guys are ready to hear them.
We're ready.
Fire away.
All right. So, and by the way, I've been crushing player props, guys. NFL player props are absolutely crushing right now. So Miles knows that. All right. So these are my reasons. So we got Connecticut averaging 20 points a game, giving up on average 23 points per game through 3. So we got a small sample size, but they have actually won a game, and they're not giving up too many points. And they're scoring, about 20 points a game. So we're looking good there. Going over to the Michigan side, they're going to be coasting. They have one of the easiest schedules in the whole entire country.
That is true.
They're basically looking forward to Michigan State, which they'll probably be like 4-7 by then, or whatever, it'll be 4-3 or something. And then we got Ohio State. So, anyways, Michigan's coasting. They don't care about this game. They scored a lot this year through 2 games, but they played terrible opponents. I think we got Colorado State maybe and Hawaii, terrible. And they barely beat them by 47. So we got Connecticut coming in. They can actually score a few points. Their defense isn't awful. They've won a game. They played 3 games. They're going to cover 47, or they're going to, they're going to win after the 47.5.
So you think
we're taking Connecticut plus 47.5.
You think Michigan's overlooking the UConn Huskies this weekend?
I don't think they're overlooking them. I think they just how can you get hyped up when you have the most trash schedule in the whole entire country and you're ranked number 4? They don't even care.
I understand that. And we might find out this weekend if Michigan's that team this year or not.
Yeah, whatever. They're always in this hunt, and then Ohio State will beat them in the last weekend, so who really cares,
All right.
Hey, Buck, thanks so much.
Yeah, appreciate that, Buck. We're chiming in. Make sure you stay tuned. And everybody else stay tuned. See what that Michigan call looks like with UConn going in there. So some not so notable news. Miles with the tongue twister there. App State football staff has placed mouse traps all over their facility to tell players don't take the cheese and stay focused. What do you think about that?
I love this. This screams football guys all over their management and locker rooms and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you got to get the players hyped up for something. Come on now.
Is this their version of rat poison?
Yeah, it is. You don't want to step in the trap and get caught by all the rat poison. That's exactly what it is.
I got you. Texas A&M trying to take down all the videos from their midnight yell about App State.
So this was hilarious. I was
just own it. You know what I mean?
I think it was all Sunday morning after the game. Texas A&M has an intern on there, probably some kid that goes to school there, trying to take down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the same video. And one thing my dad taught me growing up is once you post something online, it's on there forever.
Yeah, scrubbing that is a really, really difficult thing to do. And like I said earlier when we were talking about this game, is if Texas A&M does lose this game to Miami, they need to just stop with all that. Seriously.
Well, I think they've been doing it for too long.
I know,
never will.
But at some point, it just becomes too much.
They have to be the only school in the country where 30,000 people show up for a pep rally on Friday night.
Right. Well, they used to do the big big burn,
yeah.
Right? But they weren't able to do that because of safety reasons. So, which I'm glad they stopped that because that sounds like awful.
Yeah, it sounds dangerous.
The Giants have a winning record for the first time since the infamous boat picture.
Yeah, y'all don't remember the infamous boat picture? It was Odell. Well, who else was on that team? Pretty much they had Eli Manning was still on the team. He wasn't on the boat though, but
no.
They were all had their shirts off and jeans on a yacht. They haven't had a winning record since then, and I'm pretty sure that was 2016 or 15, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So how would you feel if you went to a Miami Dolphins game, and say you were a Miami Dolphins fan, and you just watched them beat the Patriots for the third straight time,
great day.
Straight time, and you come back out and you go to your car, and it's completely just destroyed by a fire.
I'm still turning the day into the positive because the Miami Dolphins are off to a 1-0 start.
Right.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine this.
But
I don't know what I
somebody
would
left
do.
a grill lit right next to some cars in the parking lot, and it was not just one car.
I think it was like 7 or 8 at
It was like
least.
7 or 8 cars that were damaged, if not absolutely completely destroyed. Like, come on, people, we got to do better. So if you guys are listening, you're going out tailgating, be responsible, take care of yourself.
If you
and
need to know how to
others.
grill, just call Miles.
Right. There you go. But you have like a one steak or burger per session quota? Like what's your cost there?
I could do I'll do it if you're learning, I'll do it for free. But if you just want me to cook your food, $10 an hour, I'll cook you some
so it's not
food.
just a food payment. You're actually wanting cash payment.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Look, we do cash only.
Just pay me in food. I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mississippi State player proposes after their first game and asks Leach for marriage advice, and Leach says, "Sounds like I'm too late."
This is all-time Mike Leach quote.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he never changes. stays the same the rest of his career.
Well, I think a lot of that's going to depend on his success there at Mississippi State, like we talked about before. And, you know, you're looking at a guy like Mike Leach that has always been off the cuff, which is, you know, it's kind of balked at in the SEC because they're a little bit stuffier as far as the head coaches
but now
go.
at least you got Lane Kiffin. So
Right.
But Mike Leach is, every time I'm watching a State game, they show him on the sidelines, he looks bored. Like he's just sitting there, face resting, just looks like he's just hanging out watching a football game.
He gets all of his emotions out other places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but we appreciate everybody listening to ESPN 104.3. Everybody have a great weekend. Make sure you stay tuned in for Auburn football on Saturday at 2:30. And check out all the live NFL coverage on Sunday. Coverage starts at noon. And been a great weekend, a great show with Miles today. Filling in for Dave. Make sure you check out Mosley Dolphins football coming in at you at 6:30 with the pregame. Kickoff at 7. Be David Hayes and Kyle Wright. Mosley versus Leon.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Listeners in Northwest Florida and South Alabama, be prepared. It's hurricane season. We're collecting items residents here and around the country will need in the event of a hurricane. Toiletries, garbage bags, diapers, over-the-counter medicines, clothing, batteries, first aid. Items can be dropped off at our new offices on the beach. 204 Ellen Lane, Suite B, Panama City Beach, 32408. Hurricane Relief America is sponsored by Event Production, Blab TV, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
My weather forecast for this afternoon.